Good morning, everybody. It is not May 6, 1989. It is, in fact, May 6, 2021, if you haven't noticed. I am sitting in the driver's seat of my 1989 Honda Prelude SI four-wheel steering. And I figured I would just make a nice little video on my Sony Handycam Video8 camcorder. Just for a little fun. So I've had this car for about 3 years. I got it in 2018, and I've been totally in love with this car ever since. And my favorite thing about it, besides the pop-up headlights, is that it has four-wheel steering. Right there is a little gearbox that pushes the tie rods in and out of the rear wheels, just like a steering rack would in the front, and that's how it does it. Let's just get in here and quiet down a little bit. So this car, as you probably noticed, is an automatic. It's got that sweet afterburner arcade cabinet gear shifter that you hold like this. And you probably noticed that there's S on here. And what does S mean? S3. And then if you push the little button on top of this shifter, you get S4. So what S4 is basically, it's drive with all four gears intact, but it revs higher. And that is literally the only difference between drive and sport. If you put it down in S3, you get the first three gears, and it won't go any higher. It won't shift in S4 unless you hit that button. It's a strange feature, but personally, I think it lends itself well to the rest of the weird over-engineering that this car has. Like, four-wheel steering, sport mode automatic. And then we've got, power everything, like a moonroof, which is super cool. And I've got the Honda moonroof visor there. And there is no safety on that, so if you stick your fingers up here, they're going to get pinched. Also love this non-cloth cover for the moonroof and the headliner. So much more luxurious feeling when you have that versus cloth, like what's on the back here of this sun visor. Brushed velour seats. I have no idea if you can see that because I'm not looking at the viewfinder. This interior is all original. There's a couple little scuffs here and there. The one thing my car does have is it has a clock cover, which is this little guy here. And what that does is it hides the teeny little buttons for adjusting the clock. That cover is infamous for snapping off, and that's why you have to be really careful with it. But even if you are careful with it, sometimes they just break, and that's not good. So I'm going to shut this off, and I want you guys to hear the absolutely delightful physical door chime bell that lets you know your headlights were left on once I take the keys out of the ignition. Isn't that adorable? How could you not love that? It's not yelling at you. It's just disappointed that you forgot to turn your headlights off. Like, how could you forget that your amazing pop-up headlights are on? Wonderful. And you probably noticed 2 times in a row now that I've been getting in and out of this car with the seatbelts on because it has passive seatbelts. And that means you're supposed to leave your seatbelt plugged in. It's the same way on the passenger side. And it even says, right on the parking brake, seatbelt emergency release is located on buckle, which means you're supposed to leave your seatbelts plugged in, and that way it's passive because you don't have to think about putting your seatbelt on when you get in and out of the car. And the only problem that I have with it is that when I get into a different car that doesn't have passive seatbelts, I try to get out of the car without taking my seatbelt off, and it does not work. There's these neat window visors that I just got, that I just put on the car a couple of months ago. It matches my moonroof visor. These are WeatherTech's. Not sure if you can see the logo on it. There it is. I pulled these off of a parts car out in Hazleton. These are really hard to find for this car because they're not a universal kind of part, but I think they look so nice on this 80s car. Any kind of weird little add-ons you can find for cars like this just makes them look just that much more period correct. It's awesome. So let's take a peek at this engine bay. Okay, hood's open. Okay, it is time for me to nerd out a little bit on this car. A little bit more than I've already been doing. This car has a 2-liter, 135 horsepower, dual overhead cam, non-VTEC Honda engine. It's buried underneath all these vacuum tubes. So this one does not leak or burn a drop of oil, and I think I got really lucky with that. Some of these are known to leak or burn a little bit of oil. Not as bad as the B21A1 in the 90 and 91 models. But this car runs like a top, and for being about 32 years old, that's pretty impressive. For just having basic maintenance done to it, it's great. And I just got this PGM-FI plate that's on the throttle body. I ordered one brand new from Japan, from jpcarpart.com, and it was $7 to get a brand new one. The shipping was $24, but it was well worth it. This line is an aftermarket piece, and it comes wrapped in heat shielding because, as you can see, the exhaust manifold's right here. And what happened with the factory ones with no shielding over it is this line would get the fluid boiled out of it from being right above the exhaust manifold. And that's really the only big flaw that this engine has, and I find that pretty cool that it has stood the test of time, considering how old this car is. And that's why when you find these, they're usually still running pretty good as long as someone drove the car, you know, for that entire time. When they sit, that's when things start to go bad. Take care of something, it'll take care of you. So what makes this car special? Well, this car hits every single checkbox that I would want in an 80s car, and just cars in general. It's got pop-ups, it's got a really sleek, sharp profile, it's got neat wheels, and it's black with a tan interior, which was the just epitome of 80s cars to me. And those yellow fog lights. They are such a staple of Japanese cars, and I'm so happy that mine have them from the factory. It's a classic look. It's just so 80s. You can't help but love it. And here's the back of the car, looking all shiny and nice. I got those exhaust tips were actually $5 a piece on Rock Auto, and I think they just look super cool. The original ones are fluted and they're wider at the ends. It's kind of like bell bottoms, but for your exhaust. I also had the wheels refinished when I had the car repainted. I had them redone in the factory style. They have the painted interior spokes, same color. So I've ordered a set of first gen Honda Insight center caps. Actually fit these wheels perfectly because they're the same size. The reason I had the car repainted was that it had the classic Honda rust here in the back wheel arches and the rocker panels on both sides. This section here, right there, that line there, and here were rotting out significantly. And I had a body shop. He cut, welded, and shaped new sheet metal for both sides and fixed any other defects in the body. I had a couple little dings on the hood that needed fixed, and then I had the entire car repainted. And that was it. That was done last summer, and I got the car back. And now she's nice and clean, and I intend to keep her that way. So yeah, salt, not going to happen on this car again, because that's how that's going to rust again. So some people might call that a garage clean if I only take it out in the summer, but whatever. So yeah, that is my 1989 Honda Prelude SI with 4-wheel steering. I hope you liked the video, and maybe I'll make more of these in the future. We've got another car right here I could talk at length about. So I'll just film some pop-up headlights going up and down, because I know everybody wants to see that.